Right, hello, welcome back. So in the second video of today, we're going to be looking at Paul's swing. Now, Paul is a gentleman who I teach. He's been having, I think he's had a couple of sessions now, 2 sessions within the last couple of months or so. Done some tremendous work, mainly on his strike up to now. And he's got a superb setup in his back garden, so we're able to continue the coaching process while we're in this crazy lockdown period. So he sent me over a down the line and face on view of his golf swing. We're going to talk in this video about the next stages of his improvement now, so getting even better than what he has done in already this short period of time. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's get into it. Right then, so here we are. Just a bit of context for you guys at home. Along with these 2 videos that Paul sent me, he also sent me a bit of a message as well, kind of saying that he's not sure about his posture and he's a bit concerned with regards to this chicken wing action that he's got, which you guys will see a little bit later on. So let's run this face-on video through to start with. One thing that you'll notice is that hands way ahead of the ball, and we've got quite a strong grip as well. So when you combine these two, we often see club face close to a path, so a golf ball wanting to travel left in flight when you're a right-handed golfer, and we'll also see it very de-lofted in the same instance. So as we wind it back, we will notice that Paul makes a little bit of a shift off the ball, which affects his strike. As we see his centre of balance kind of shifting more backwards instead of being over the ball. And then as we come into impact, this is where we kind of see the chicken wing. You need to ignore the way that the shaft looks in this video because it's a bit of a distorted image when it comes to like shutter rates and stuff, so it looks as though we've got an extremely flexible shaft in this instance, which we actually haven't. So one thing that I do want you to pay attention to though is that how this arm situation starts to break down here. So we have this crumpling chicken wing type situation of the arms. That right there though is a direct effect of what we've kind of set up beforehand in the golf swing. So the reason why we have to do this chicken wing is a last minute attempt to add loft, because we've seen it very de-lofted earlier in the golf swing, and it's also in an attempt to try and square that club face up to a path and let it not go as far left as it perhaps wants to. We see that a little bit more evident in the down the line swing as we have here. So postural complaints. For the time being, I mean, posture's not my main concern. My main concern is how we're controlling this club face. So one thing that we'll see straight away is that it is twisted very much down to the ground. I always encourage this, but not necessarily to that extent. As we take it up to the top of the backswing, we can see that the loft there is pointing up to the sky. This again suggests very de-lofted, very twisted close to a path. And then as we work it down, you can see just an extension of this. So club face at this point here, very much in a closed and de-lofted position. But then Paul, being a decent golfer, realising that he can't deliver a club with no loft, pointing way left, so then he attempts to do this little bit of a flick where the club head overtakes the hands quite rapidly to add a lot of loft and to square that club face up. And then we can also see that he kind of throws this loft over his shoulder with this chicken wing type move as well. So it's kind of understanding where the chicken wing comes from and putting the right procedures in place with the setup and a couple of ideas during the swing to ensure that we don't keep doing that, because it's very hard to control first and foremost the loft on the golf club, and secondly where that golf club is pointing when you've got so much irregularities going off during the swing. I mean, he does a great job monitoring it and coping with it as it is, but I think if we can make just a couple of minor tweaks now, we'll have a lot better control of the loft of the golf club, and we'll be able to control that face to a path relationship a little bit better. So let's head into the back garden. Let's get out there, let's speak about a couple of those things. Welcome to the great British summer isolation, eh? Right, that's what we need to understand in today's video, is how important it is to be functional in a golf swing. What do I mean by that? The chicken wing move that you do is a byproduct of the kind of faults that you have set up early on in the golf swing. So that means if we were to change one thing earlier on in your golf swing, it's going to have a knock-on effect on other things later on in your golf swing. So like I explained in that video, couple of setup things that we see with you at the minute, Paul. Hands way far forward. With the hands being so far forward as well, kind of mean that we're going to more than likely produce a de-lofted club at impact with a tendency to want to close it shut as well because of these grip conditions. But also, like I said, with you being an half decent golfer, you realise that you don't want to take that much loft off of the golf club. You realise you don't want to hit it that far left. So what you do, you make this compensatory is that a word? I don't know. Compensatory move where we have to start adding loft back on. So we release that club a little bit early and then we start to see the crumpling of the elbows and this chicken wing. But that's all to make sure that you hit that golf ball straight at that target. So the big fix for today, it's not going to be a one-part fix, it's going to be a two-part fix. So what I want you to do, in your setup, feel as though that this handle, the butt end, is not pointed so much towards your left thigh or even outside your left thigh sometimes. Try and get it a little bit more belt zipper or even the belt loop just to the left of your zipper. So in a lot more neutral position to start with. Now, whereas you're used to seeing that club really de-lofted to start with, this is probably going to feel as though you're turning it into like a sandwich. I've got a 7-iron here. So then what we need to do from there to ensure that we don't deliver lots of loft now, because your original swing, you start with no loft and then you have to do the release move in order to get it somewhere suitable. If we were to add loft to start with, do the release move, we'd hit some absolute moon balls that would go straight up into the air. So we're flipping that move now. Instead of going from no loft to suitable, we need to go from suitable to probably feel as though you're taking loft off to ensure we don't get the chicken wing move anymore. So setup wise, starting in a more suitable position, butt of the golf club pointing more at your belt buckle as opposed to your left thigh. This is the big feeling from now on. This is going to eradicate the chicken wing, and I'm going to take you around this side so you can see it a bit clearer. So whereas before that chicken wing was necessary because we start in this kind of a position and we have to get back to that kind of a position, what I want you to do now is set up with it more neutral, like I said, but feel as though that by the time we get to impact, that club handle is leading the head. So instead of we start with no loft and then we have to add, feel as though that we start with appropriate loft and we have to almost take a little bit away, because you'll notice that in these next two swings that I'm going to make, the release, we go from a kind of chicken wing move to a non-chicken wing because of it. So this is the first one. So here's the one where I have to add the loft to make it suitable and functional. Similar to the vid that we saw earlier when you're really throwing that loft over your left shoulder. So now let's start with it more neutral. Instead of it being there, let's have it more here, but then feeling that as we're coming into impact, we're taking loft off. And you just have a look now at the difference in these two releases. One's a lot more extended. Get that club into a more appropriate position. Right mate, hope this helps. If you have any more questions, feel free to send us a text over, I'm sure you will. If you guys have enjoyed this video at home, make sure you're doing the usuals, like, share, subscribe. We're back to the usual upload schedule tomorrow. So I look forward to seeing you then. Hopefully this weather clears off because this rain's no good. And yeah, stay home, stay safe. See you tomorrow. Laters.